Welcome to Long Beach Treasures. I'm your host, Harvey Keller. Today we're going to be visiting Dave Schneider's Fine Jewelry, a family-owned business since 1945. So if you'll come with me, we'll go up and we'll check out the jewelry business. And here we are in the showroom, and joining me here is Mark Schneider.
Welcome.
Thank you. Tell me about your store. You've been in business for how long?
We've been in Long Beach, downtown Long Beach, for 60 years, and we were in the Insurance Exchange building for a little over 20 years, and we've been in this location for almost 38 years. My father built the building.
This is a family-owned business?
Yep, my father started it in 1945, and we're very unique in that we create most of the things that you see in this showroom are produced in our own studio on the premises.
You have, I believe, a ring in the Smithsonian?
Yes.
How did that come about?
Tanzanite is a relatively new stone, and the Smithsonian was building an exhibit, and the Smithsonian likes to tell a story. They like to have an uncut crystal, they like to have a faceted stone, and then an example of how the stone can be made into jewelry, and they look for spectacular pieces to demonstrate emeralds, rubies, sapphires, and in Tanzanite. And I had a piece that won the international competition for colored stone jewelry that they saw, and then they approached Nancy and myself and asked us if we would donate it to the permanent exhibit.
Now, how do you become a master jeweler? Is there a school you go to? Is this by experience? Do you have a mentor? Or?
Well, I do have some mentors. I graduated from Long Beach State, and I took several art classes and jewelry classes, third generation jewelry, so it's in my blood. I've collected gems and minerals ever since I can remember, and I've been very fortunate. I always knew what I wanted to do, and art is a very important part of my life. Basically, art helped me get through school, and I majored in business, but I minored in art.
Now, I believe these are some of your award-winning designs.
Yes.
Here.
Most of the pieces that you see in this case have won some international competition. Matter of fact, all
what kind of
pieces.
stones are these?
Well, this is a very unusual stone. This is a tourmaline piece, and what makes this very unique, it's an extremely large, flawless
Surrounded
specimen.
by diamonds?
Surrounded by diamonds. This won a Spectrum Award and Platinum Honors 2 years ago.
It's beautiful.
Other unique pieces that you won't see. This ring won the Vision Award by the Manufacturer Jewelers Association, and it actually folds.
Huh.
It can be worn like this, and it can also be worn as a pendant.
Oh.
So to my knowledge, this is the first time anyone's designed anything quite like that.
This pendant is unusual. The glass, the large piece.
This is blue chalcedony, tanzanite, and this was carved by a friend of mine. His name is Steve Walters, and many of my stones, I try to travel to Europe every other year, and I go to Tucson once a year, and I work with cutters that cut stones, especially for my pieces.
Now, you design most of the jewelry yourself.
Correct.
I think in the other room you have it laid out, and would give us an example of the process that you use.
I can show you the whole process.
Let's do it.
Okay. The way the process starts is it starts from a drawing. I usually trace my stones that I'm working with and then come up with a design. This is, if I'm working with a client and they want a color rendering, we can do that also. But from this process, once I'm happy with the drawing, the scale, we carve a wax. And this wax actually becomes the ring. And then these are fitted to different gemstones. And we do, I would say the majority of my business is bridal rings, and I'll show you my bridal department, and custom work. And that's for people that maybe inherited stones that they're not using, or they have jewelry that's outdated. They can bring their stones to me, sit down with them, we can work with the drawing, and having their own gemstones saves them a considerable amount of money, because most of the cost in a piece of jewelry is the material, which is usually the diamonds or the stones.
Okay, now what are we going to see in here?
Well, from doing the sketches, the wax work is all done in here, and what you see here are production pieces that we're making for our customers, and we also sell jewelry all over the United States. So we have a large, in Long Beach, we're the largest jewelry manufacturer, and we're one of the largest in Los Angeles area. All these waxes you see here are styles that are in my collection.
You've made all of those?
Yes, we have. We've been, as I said, we've been in business for 60 years, so we've collected a tremendous amount of existing models, which is less expensive. Once the wax is carved and we make a rubber mold, then we can reproduce the piece at significant savings. So we do both. We also do very competitively priced jewelry that we can sell in multiple pieces, and then we do handmade pieces that are one of a kind, like you saw in the showcase.
What's the most expensive piece of jewelry you ever designed? Do you remember? Do you know?
For a customer, for a custom piece, it was like $60,000. Now, we sold some large diamonds that have been more expensive than that, but actually hand making a piece. We also make race car jewelry for the Long Beach Grand Prix, and we've made some custom race cars that I'll show you that are over $20,000.
Oh. And now I think there's another room with another process?
Yes. Well, let me walk you through it.
Okay.
From here, we do all our wax work. We're unique in that we do everything right here. We have our own casting department. We have our own jewelry. We have our jewelers that finish the work, and then we have our own finishing and polishing department. So what's nice is we can keep everything in-house.
Okay, now what are we going to see in here?
Now this is the next step. From making the wax, we actually do our own casting. The wax models are put into what we call flasks. These are put into these ovens. They burn out overnight. The wax turns into steam and disappears. And then in the morning, usually about 9:30, 10 o'clock, we do a casting. And each of those crucibles are for a different karat gold, as you can see on their stands, 18, 14.
You put the wax model in here?
It's put into this, and then it's filled with plaster of Paris.
Oh, okay.
So the wax is in the plaster of Paris, encased, and this top is what we call a button that is wax. So then it's put upside down into the ovens, and then the wax melts out. Oh. And then we have a cavity that's left in this piece. And then this piece is put into this vacuum casting machine, like this. The casting machine is turned on, all the air is evacuated out of the flask. Then we take the crucibles, heat up the gold with these torches, pour it in, and that becomes the ring, or the pendant, or the engagement ring.
Oh, quite a process, isn't it?
And we keep, as you can see, we keep it immaculate, because any type of contamination that gets into the process can ruin the casting.
Okay, before we stop at the bridal display, what's this area?
This area is where the rings are actually manufactured. Here's where the goldsmiths set the diamonds, do the filing, the finishing from the castings, and we set the diamonds. And then in this area, we do all our polishing and the final finishing. As you can see, we have five polishing stations.
So this is the end of the line?
This is the end of the line for the manufacturing.
Wow. Now, you designed all of these rings?
In the bridal department, that's one of the things that is a strong part of my business. We go through A to Z with the customer on diamonds. I believe that the more educated a customer is, the better decision they'll make. One of the advantages of buying a diamond from me is I guarantee 100% satisfaction or your money back. I guarantee everything in GIA terminology. Most of my stones have GIA or certs, and we also guarantee that they can trade their diamond up on a larger diamond at a later date.
Where do the best diamonds come from?
Well,
or is there a particular place?
Well, I don't like to say best, because every diamond is unique. And the reason one diamond is more expensive than another is because of scarcity, supply and demand. It's much easier to find a diamond with a few internal markings in it, and maybe the color is not absolutely white, than it is to find a diamond that's flawless and absolutely white. Doesn't mean that one diamond is better than another, but in nature it's much harder to find that flawless diamond.
Would a flawless white diamond be the most expensive diamond, even of the colored diamonds?
Except for like pink diamonds. There are some pink and red diamonds that are extremely rare, and those are basically in collectors. But for jewelry purposes, a white diamond is the most popular. And one of the aspects that I'm very keen on is I hand pick each of my diamonds. One of the things that a lot of people neglect is how well the diamond is cut. And that is the one area that can affect the price of a diamond by 40%.
What do you think the average size of the diamond would be in the average ring?
Right now, the average engagement ring that we sell is between 3/4 of a carat and 1.5 carats. We do sell 2s and 3s, but that is the range. And one of the aspects of my rings is, since we hand make each ring, when the customer selects a diamond from me, we go through that wax process in which the ring is designed for their diamond. It's made in their finger size, so it's not cut. A lot of stores will just take a diamond and put it in any setting they can.
That diamond sparkles.
And one of the nice factors of mine, my trademark, is a little heart in the opposite color gold, and that's a half-point diamond. There's 100 points to a carat. This half-point diamond has 58 facets, same number of facets as this center stone.
Oh, wow!
And that's my trademark. And inscribed on that little half-point diamond is a secret message, and you need a microscope to see that message.
I'll be darned.
And that's a secret between the bride and the groom. So one of the things I'm very strong in my bridal, and we do a lot of bridal business, that every bride is unique.
Now, this trademark is on all your rings?
That's my trademark, registered with the patent office, and that distinguishes a Mark Schneider design.
A very good friend of mine got her diamond engagement and wedding ring. So when I go home, I'm going to call her and ask her what the secret message is.
Okay, please do. And that's what makes it unique. My feeling is, when you're buying an engagement ring, the ring should be unique. It shouldn't be something that there's 5,000 of them around. And that's what I try to do with my clientele when they come in, is educate them to see why the diamonds are priced what they are. Because there's a lot of misleading information in the marketplace, and a lot of people will see two diamonds that they think are alike, but under proper education, they'll see that there's a difference between the two diamonds.
Are these wedding bands rather than
These are eternity rings or wedding bands, and the diamonds go completely around. And
now we only have 1 minute left. Anything you want to show us or tell us?
Well, I feel
that we haven't already seen?
Well, I feel that in buying a piece of jewelry, every person is unique, and one of the reasons people buy jewelry is to separate themselves from other people. It's a way of distinguishing their own personality, and that's something that we spend a lot of time. And when we sit down with like a bridal customer, we like to find out what the customer wants. We like to find out, what will serve their needs, and then we want to make sure that they get the best value for their money.
Give us your address and phone number.
245 Promenade, downtown Long Beach. We're at the corner of 3rd and Promenade. We've been here for 60 years. Our phone number is 562-437-0591, and then we have a beautiful web page, www.markschneiderdesign.com, and that shows a lot of my award-winning pieces.
Mark, thank you for letting me come.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it, and your jewelry's beautiful.
Well, I enjoy showing my things. I'm very proud. I have a great office, a great staff, and we're really happy to be in Long Beach.
And stick around.
Thank you.
And welcome back back to Long Beach Treasures. Joining me now is Dan Peterson, who is the developer of the Insurance Exchange building, and he's converting the building into lofts. Welcome, Dan.
Welcome, Harvey.
How many lofts are you going to have here?
There's going to be 11 lofts. One will be a penthouse, and 10. 10 plus 10 plus the 11.
Now,
so 12 total.
The steel structure on the top showing the penthouse, is it going to be 2 floors, the penthouse?
It is. It's actually 3 floors. It is the original floor, which was a gymnasium at one time. That's the 8th floor. And then we have added 2 additional floors on top of the roof. So it will actually be 3 floors.
Now, this building was built originally when?
It was built in 1924.
By the architect was?
Harvey Lockridge was the architect.
My namesake.
Yeah, he was a fairly prominent architect here in the 20s, and did a number of buildings. Of course, this was one of his famous ones.
Do you have any idea what the original cost of the building was?
You know, we don't know exactly, but the records show it was approximately $800,000.
And this being during the building boom of Long Beach, so at $800,000, if Long Beach was spending $1 million a month on buildings, they were putting up more than one of these buildings a month, changing the skyline here in the city.
Yeah, that would be how the math would come out, right? That the skyline of the city in the 20s was changing tremendously due to, as you know, the oil boom in Signal Hill, bringing a tremendous amount of money into the city. That was really the heyday of early Long Beach here.
Now, with the heavy cornice up there, that really gives some of the imprints or footprints of the Beaux-Arts influence, doesn't it?
Right. That was this is a neoclassic style here, and the polychrome terracotta, and it's amazing the detail that they put into this back when they did this sort of work.
I noticed those are what, gremlins facing torches and dolphins facing tridents?
Right, that's up on top, and then we have the sabers and all sorts of other things, and then going down a little bit further, we've got the children at play, and of course that had to do with the first use of the building as a boys and men's store.
Yeah, the Midhouse?
The Midhouse men's store, right.
And wasn't this originally supposed to be just a 2-story building, but then they added the other stories because they thought they were going to get the court system housed here, but it eventually went down to the...
Well, we don't know. The plans that we have show it as a 7-story building with the 8th floor gymnasium. So all of the plans that we have show the building the way it is. So they may have had ideas for the building prior to submitting plans to the city, but the original plans show it as an 8-story building.
And I see a sign up there, the cellar is coming.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when the old Green Frog used to be down there.
Right. The Green Frog was the last tenant in the building. And they moved out probably roughly a year before we bought the building. And we now are in negotiations with a tenant that has a similar club in Houston, and it's called the Cellar, and it's a rather famous club there, and a lot of famous people have come up through that club. And he now wants to open the Cellar in our basement here.
Now, the basement and the first floor will be commercial?
That's correct. The basement is scheduled to be a nightclub, and the first floor is scheduled to be a restaurant.
Now, I know you said you ordered some tiles from Gladdy McBean's to finish off the building.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this company has been in business over 100 years?
Oh, yes. It's one of the, maybe, if not the oldest, one of the oldest companies that manufacture terracotta. It's up here in Northern California, which most people don't know. And they have been in business continuously for at least 100 years.
And they did about 90% of the tiles on the WPA mural down at the end of the promenade.
Right, right. They do some pretty amazing things, and they did the tiles for our, well, actually they're the friezes for what we're going to do, replace everything along the columns at the first floor and underneath the windows at the first floor.
Now, when do you expect to be finished?
Well, that's a question everybody asks. and every time I give an answer, I find myself pushing it out another month. We look to be substantially finished by the end of this month, the end of January. I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yes,
Well,
looking at the building,
right.
yes.
That'll be finished with the lofts, and we're looking at probably an additional month to 2 months to do the ground floor, the storefront, and replacing all the terracotta pieces and that type of thing.
So the sign up there on the cellar coming in the spring is not far off then.
Well, I hope that works.
Do you have any
We'll
idea
see.
what kind of tenants you're going to have on the lower level here?
Lower level looks like it's going to be a restaurant, and I believe it's the fare would be Cajun, and we'll have dining out onto the promenade, like the Blue Cafe has. So it'll be a nice addition for the corner here at the corner of the promenade and Broadway.
Be a nice addition too for the little theater around the corner for patrons to have dinner before they go to the theater.
Oh yes, yeah. It's gonna be a good match.
You're not from Long Beach. What brought you here, and what made you decide to do this building?
That's correct. No, I'm actually from El Segundo, but I have a good friend that's a broker here in Long Beach, and at the time we were looking at buying some rental units, and he showed me this building, and we both had a vision for what it could be. Little did I know what the undertaking I was about to embark on, but the vision was stronger, and that prevailed. So we did purchase the building in 2001, and it's been a tremendous experience.
Would you undertake it again if you were to start anew?
You know, if I said yes, my wife would probably kill me. But now that I know the pitfalls and things like that, it's possible.
Could we go in and look at some of the tile that you ordered from Gladdy McBean's before it goes up?
We sure can.
Let's do it.
All right, thank you.
Now these are going to go on the front of the building?
Right, these will go on the front of the building. What you're looking at here is what we call a waveform. This is going to make up the ledge below the storefront windows. What we did was we got a picture from the grand opening of the building, and from that picture we were able to, we and Gladdy McBean were able to recreate as closely as possible the terracotta waveforms that make up this ledge, and then also the columns, the friezes and the columns that we had that have been destroyed off of 6 columns on the building.
That's beautiful tile work, isn't it?
It is. You know, Gladdy McBean did a terrific job. We actually were very picky. I think this is probably the 6th color sample and match that we went through before we were satisfied, and they worked with us, and we, you know, now that I see this is actually the first time I've seen the finished product. Now that I see this, I'm pleased with it.
I think it's beautiful, and you're really doing a bang-up job keeping it up like it was. Is this designated historic?
It is. It's on the National Register, and it's also on the Long Beach Register.
It is on the National Register?
Right. That was one of the things that we did when we I believe February 5th of 2004, it got placed on the National Register. It's one of the things that we did. We wanted to make sure that the building was had the maximum amount of protection. And
Let's go up and check one of the floors out, okay?
all right.
Let's go.
Thanks.
Dan, how large are most of these units?
They're approximately 1,450 square feet.
That's quite large.
It is. Yeah, it's a nice size unit. Each floor is divided into 2 units. We have a north unit and a south unit. Right now we are in the south unit. The south unit has a lot of windows, as you can see, and the north unit has a fair amount of windows, although less, and it has the added feature that it has one entire wall is brick.
You know, even though you have a lot of windows, it still affords a lot of privacy, doesn't it?
Oh, sure, because you're up so high. Right, we have unobstructed views here. As you essentially, really, right now we're on the 4th floor, and as you can see, there are no buildings around us. There may be in the future, but at this time there are no buildings to obstruct your view.
Is this a bathroom?
Oh yes, this is the units each have one large master bath and a half bath. A large master bath has got a huge shower, which is 4 feet by 4 feet, 3 shower heads, and of course every unit has a jacuzzi tub.
A question. A window overlooking the tub so they can look out?
Right. That's
is it really?
That is it. Our interior designers, which is a firm of interstices, came up with this idea, and we actually have a window, so you can sit in your tub and look out and look through the windows and actually have a view.
But what if you have guests?
Well, then you close the window.
Unless you're a voyeur or something.
Right, unless they're guests that you want to have the window open. Right.
These are quite large.
Oh yeah, they are. This is a real loft. What we have here is 12 minimum ceiling height is 12 feet in this building. Open concrete beams, the original concrete beams. If you look at you notice the steel diagonal braces on the 2 walls, that's part of our structural retrofit.
That's what I was wondering. Downstairs I saw the steel beams, and I just wondered if that wasn't part of the retrofitting.
It was. That was quite a challenge. Because of the terracotta exterior, we didn't want to do anything to destroy that exterior. So all of the retrofitting on this building had to do with putting in a massive foundation in the basement, and then steel beam braces on 2 of the walls. This is quite an ingenious design that came up with here.
Now this room here is enclosed. What is this?
Oh, this room is a closet.
Oh, okay.
Each unit has each loft has a walk-in closet, and the way these are laid out, essentially anyone could lay this out the way they wanted to, but we do have a kitchen area. What you look at up here is going to be the kitchen area. The kitchen is about 21 feet long, and it's flat against a wall. So all of everything is going to be put on against the wall. All the cabinets and the appliances will be up against the wall to keep that very clean look.
Dan, I think this is going to look tremendous when it's finished, and I hope that maybe you'll let us come back when it's completed so we can show the finished product. We'll show the before and after.
Sure, I certainly will. And, a month or maybe 2 or maybe 3, we'll see.
I know how time flies.
Oh, yeah, time flies when you're having fun and doing construction.
Dan, thanks for letting me come and
appreciate
look at your development.
Thank you very much.
And be sure and join us again next month as we take another walk through history and uncover more Long Beach treasures.